Human beings who eat other human beings. The myth of wild cannibals has fascinated people for ages. Most people are convinced cannibals do exist. Many of them link cannibalism to a particular image. A white missionary in the cauldron of bloodthirsty natives. Or wild men dancing and looking forward to devouring a little blonde girl. But real cannibalism is quite different. On October 12, 1972, a plane crashed in the Andes Mountains. 29 members of a rugby team from Uruguay died, but 16 survived. They ate the flesh of the dead men to stay alive. The world was shocked. These weren't wild men, but civilized people who had become cannibals. Reports continually circulate of primitive peoples who supposedly devour their enemies. From a nutritional point of view, the idea wouldn't be that objectionable.
Ich wüsste nicht, warum man Menschenfleisch nicht essen sollte. Nein.
I don't know why human flesh should not be eaten. It's not poisonous. It tastes good. There are hundreds of reports describing that human flesh tastes like chicken, or pork, or beef.
Cannibals were always the other people. Unknown, terrifying rituals carried out by strange peoples fired the imagination of seafarers and travelers. They were convinced that there were people living on the other side of the world who committed the most unspeakable acts with other people. The Jesuit priest Navarro wrote in 1551, "When I arrived, they were pulling off the arms, feet, and heads of people. I saw old ladies dancing around the pan and stirring up the fire, so they looked like devils in hell." Was this cannibalism? The word itself is the product of slanderous usage. When Christopher Columbus landed among the Arawak people in 1492, they described their neighbors, the Caribs, as cannibals. The discoverer turned the word Caribs into cannibs, giving us the catchword cannibals. Our ancestors are believed to have valued human flesh as much as we enjoy a good steak today. Scientists have been trying to find out whether Neanderthals were cannibals. Some base their findings on bone discoveries.
If the large hole at the rear of the skull is enlarged, this is believed to be an indication of cannibalism, because we believe people extracted the brain to eat it. It is clear that the brain was removed, but it is not clear what they did with it.
Scientists have argued for years about whether there really was such a thing as deliberate cannibalism. Explorers, missionaries, and colonial masters all told stories at home of brutal wild tribes hunting their fellow humans and eating them as a delicacy. But there are no proven eyewitness accounts to record any such meals.
The fact that the act has not been observed is not because the people who were eaten were no longer in a position to report the event. There were enough people who spent a long time with cannibals. They could have observed this phenomenon if it really had happened.
But it is indisputable that many peoples preserved the heads of dead people. They free the skull from all flesh to conserve it. This ritual was repeatedly misinterpreted in the past, as was the process of shrinking heads. Skulls were not roasted, but smoked. They shrink in the process and keep well. Even in ritual or symbolic cannibalism, it isn't human flesh which is eaten, but merely the ashen remains. The Yanomami Indians in the Amazon forests of Brazil do burn their dead. The ash is stirred into a banana paste and is eaten. This is how the Yanimamis pay their last respects to the dead, absorb their strength, and ensure everything will go well for them in the afterlife. It is indisputable that cannibalism does take place in emergency situations. People who have been shipwrecked have often eaten their dead companions just to stay alive. Sometimes they even cast lots to see which of them should be eaten. The rugby players who crashed in the Andes became cannibals just to survive. They had to wait up in the high mountains without food for 3 months. They would have died if they had not eaten the flesh of their friends. 2 of the survivors managed to withstand a 10-day walk through the Andes to get help. This meant the rest of the group was rescued. Rumors of unscrupulous cannibals occur even today. Cannibalism is reported to have been used as a means of torture in China during the Cultural Revolution under Mao Zedong in the 1960s. Was human flesh consumed as a demonstration of power and the highest form of humiliation? There are various forms of cannibalism. It is one of the few absolute taboos human beings know. But people are fascinated when this taboo is broken.
Perhaps it is partially related to the fact that cannibalism is normally forbidden or is viewed as something terrible. But it is still repeatedly an option when people are in an emergency situation, and they are therefore very afraid of it. But it's easy to imagine that strangers or enemies will do what you are afraid of and what you believe is a terrible action.
It seems there are no cannibals who just eat human flesh for the pleasure of it, nor have there ever been. But the myth of cannibalism will continue to survive.